What is your greatest weakness? With a sample answer. That's what I'll be sharing in this video, so stick around if you struggle with this question. I'm Amri Celeste, an interview coach and HR recruitment specialist with over 11 years hiring experience. So let's jump straight into this one. Now, this is a behavioral interview question. It's explorative and gives the interviewer insight into you, your areas of improvement, your self-awareness, and how aware you are of your own areas of self-improvement. So because that gives an indicator of your emotional awareness and maturity. So if you struggle with behavioral interview questions, then you can check out this video. There should be a link popping up at the top here, and that is a link to my behavioral interview questions and answers video with lots of example answers included. And I'll also link that in the description box below this video. Now, you might be asked this question in multiple formats, such as, what are your weaknesses? Name your biggest weakness. What would your previous boss or colleagues say your biggest weaknesses are? So look out for this question in different formats so you don't get caught out. The best way to answer this question, or the question like this, is always to ensure that your answer is not in direct opposition to a key duty, responsibility, or essential skill set in the role. And I'll run through how to make sure you do that. So first, let's break down what a strong answer looks like, and I'll show you how to structure your answer and how to answer what is your weakness. In the first part of your answer, you're picking a skill set, personality trait, or character trait that you've struggled with, and you're explaining how it affected you. And towards the end of your answer, you can show the journey that you took to overcome that, or how you're still working on it today. So an example answer is, as a sales executive, I've always focused on results and delivery. I really struggled with being organized for some time. So the great thing here in this first part of the answer is it states your weakness in a past tense, which indicates that it's something you used to struggle with, and it's a really good pretext to set up the story of the journey of how you overcame it. And an answer in story format is significantly more engaging and memorable. And that's really what you're aiming for in your interview. You want to be remembered by your interviewer. So the weakness here is lack of organization skills. In terms of structuring your answer, I would recommend using the STAR method, also known as the STAR technique. What is the STAR method? STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. And in this answer, you've already described the first part, the situation. The reason I highly recommend the STAR method for answering this question is because it automatically puts your answer in story format without you having to think about it, which I mentioned earlier is one of the most powerful ways to answer. And this ensures that your answer is comprehensive and it covers all the points that the interviewer will be looking for. Now, the next part of this answer should show how this weakness affected you, and it's also the task part of the STAR method. The task explains something that you need to address, solve, or take care of. So the second part of this answer is, I get motivation from hitting or exceeding my targets and always being able to deliver. And although I had regular success initially, I found that my lack of organization affected my ability to maintain that success. Due to poor organization skills, I wasn't tracking my sales, my progress, or even things like which clients I'd spoken to because I didn't keep systems or notes up to date. Now, lack of organization might be a good example weakness to use in a role such as communication-based roles like sales or customer service, or maybe complaints handling, for example, because being organized would not generally be seen as more important than communication skills or something like sales skills in those cases, whereas say an admin role or a team management role or secretarial or PA role, being organized is more likely to be something that is considered a typically essential skill set. If it was something like an admin role or any role where being organized is critical, then a weakness that is based on, say, communication, like struggling to say no or fear of public speaking, might be examples of things that wouldn't necessarily be in direct opposition to the job. You can use something that is in opposition to the job, but then you just need to make sure that you back it up with a really strong example answer of how you overcame it. If you are getting value from this so far, then do like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. It's good for the YouTube algorithm, but it also is immensely helpful for this channel. And there are also other ways to support this channel in the description box below this video. Now, the best way to make sure that your answer does not trip you up is to pre-prepare an answer and a couple of examples. You do this by looking at the job description. Here's an example job description. Under essential and desirable skills on the job description, you'll see what skills are critical and what duties are involved. So your example weakness can be based around something that still positions you as suitable for the role. The communication example that I gave earlier would be a good example for a role like this because it's not in major opposition to anything here. If you want to be fully prepared, I do go through the interview prep process in this guide, and I also have example answers in this guide. Both of them are free and you can download them in the description box below this video. Now, the next part of this answer is the action, and the example is, I decided to change that by setting up reminders and making sure I kept our systems and notes up to date. That shows the actions you took. And then next you want to share the result, which shows the journey of how you improved or addressed the weakness and results over time. I found that my sales increased by 30% over the next year because I tracked who I had spoken to and when their contract was due to renew, which meant I could resell to the same clients as opposed to having to search for new clients every time. I was also able to see the times during the year I made the most sales and double down my efforts during those periods in the following year. Now, in this results section here, it shows the improvement in a percentage. Any number, percentages, or otherwise that you can include in your answer will be exceptionally powerful. Adding numbers or specifics to your answer contributes authenticity to your answer. So now you can see how the STAR method is super powerful in helping you to structure your answer. You can check out this video on STAR method interview questions and answers for more example answers that are specific to the STAR method, because it doesn't necessarily apply automatically to every interview question or answer. Now I'm going to show you how to supercharge your answer and demonstrate self-awareness to your interviewer, which will put you above other candidates in the process. To do this, you can add a learning or a takeaway from the situation. So here's an example of that. I learned this was a much more mature and effective approach to my work, and I implemented pre-planning and organizing in other areas of my working life. Because it was so effective, I also plan and organize more in my personal life, and I now feel like I'm ready to move into a senior sales role, which is why I applied for this position. So this last part here shows major reflection and how you continue to improve and apply powerful skills and techniques that you learn to improve yourself as an individual. And it's also a great cheeky segue into explaining why you'd be a great candidate for the role at the end here, even though that wasn't the question. Now, I hope you found this helpful. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you did, and I will see you in the next video.